Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to class. I'm Rabbi Dr. Oloruntobi. Today we'll be addressing the biblical Hebrew. And just for a recap, we discussed the biblical Hebrew verb, and we're able to address a few things. Now, in the class today, we'll be addressing the structure that we have in the verbs in the biblical Hebrew. And unlike just like we have the nouns in biblical Hebrew, there has to be a root of which all of these things were derived from. So, and this root in biblical Hebrew is what we captioned Shoresh, and that's what we'll be addressing in a moment. We're gonna see the branches that we have. It's just like it's a structure of a tree, then with many branches. So, and this will be a kind of picture that we'll be painting, then learning the verbs that we have in biblical Hebrew. So then you're gonna know the simple action with active voice. Then we have the simple action with passive voice. Then we have the intensive action with active and passive voice. Then we have the causa or causative voice with either action, active or passive voice. All right. So as I said, we have the biblical Hebrew. All right. Then we'll be addressing today the root. The root. Now, when we talk about the biblical Hebrew, it's right to say that at least an average verse in the Tanakh, that's the Old Testament, that's the Hebrew Bible, an average verse of the scripture contains not less than 3 verbs. So it is right to say that the biblical Hebrew is a verbal language because we have a good amount of verbs contained in each of the verses of the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament. The Old Testament in the General Bible, and which is called the Hebrew Bible. So the Old Testament or the biblical Hebrew is a verbal language. So that's why it is very important that every scholar in biblical Hebrew should take time to learn the verbs. Now, when we talk about the verbs in biblical Hebrew, they are formed from what we call consonantal structure. In other words, the biblical Hebrew verb, they are triconsonantal majorly, though we have those that were formed out of 4 distinct letters. So, but most of the verbs that we have in the Tanakh are formed with 3 different letters. Now we call them triconsonantal. We know we have the 22 biblical Hebrew consonants. They are left, bet, and so now I want to see these 3 letters now before we begin to address the roots, because all of these 3 letters form the biblical Hebrew verbs. So, and that's why it's very important that we take time to learn this. Now, for instance, we have said they are consonantal majorly with structure. So we want to see how we can easily understand this. Now, that shows that they are formed with the combination of 3 different consonants. For instance, we have mem, we have lamed, and then we have kaf. That's a final kaf. Now, from these 3 letters, we can form stops. So now from these three, we're able to see that we can form at least three different words from this particular structure. Another I call it is a triconsonantal in shape. For instance, we have mem, this is mem, a consonant in Hebrew. This is a lamed, said, and this is final calf. Final calf. Alright, so from these three letters, we can form three distinct words. So they are the root through which we are all of these letters. So and that's what we're gonna bring into the verb. Then we're gonna show you the structures there. So let's see the words that we formed now. Now we have mem, lamed, we have calf. Now the addition of the vowels makes it so this is a word and it means melek, which means a king. This means a king. Alright, let's use this. We have lamed as a mem, we have kamet, we have lamed, we have matzah, and then we have calf, the initial stage, then we have shurek, and dog. So this is another word from. Now when we have this, when we introduce it together, this mem, this is calf, this is lamed, this is calf, because it's not, if you understand, if you have gone through my teaching on the begat kefat letters, so you understand that this is a begat kefat letter, and so it has the capacity to either receive a dagesh at the bosom or not. So when it's not with a dagesh, then it is transliterated as K-ish. Alright, so then we have shurek, that's then we have top, so that's makut, and makut means kingdom, a kingdom. So it means this makut, that means a kingdom. Alright, so that's that about this form. Now let's see the third word that will be formed from these three letters. Now we have black. So we have melak, malak, and it means rule. All right. So we have a king, we have a kingdom, and we have a rule. That means from this root, which is Shoresh, we're able to create 30 different words. So that's why it's very important that in biblical Hebrew, unlike English, we have a good number of letters. When you are approaching biblical Hebrew, it is right to learn the Shoresh. I mean, when you are dealing with verbs, you have to learn all of these letters, because from these 3 or 4 consonants, you can form a good number of words, and as well form a good number of verbs, of which we'll be dealing with in a moment. So let's see the structure of the Shoresh and then the branches it has. So the root system in Biblical Hebrew is all called the Shoresh. All right. So now the Shoresh is just like a tree. Just a diagram. It's like a tree with different branches. So that's what I'm going to show now. It might mean I know how to draw. It's just to have a sketch of what I am really talking about. Alright, so we have it's just like a tree with many branches. So this is the tree, this is soil. So this is the tree, and the trees we have. The name is Shoresh. So that is the stem on which we have a good number of branches. So we have Ka, it's a branch. We have Nifa. This Nifa could be written this way, or the other way, that's to be NIPH and not F, depending on the employed translation. All right. So then we have Pihe, and we have Puha, we have Ifi, we have Ufa, we have It, Have. So we have Ka, Nifa, Pie, Fua, Ifi, Ufa, and It, Pahe. And then these are the branches that we're looking at in this teaching. Now, before that, I'll talk about Ka. Ka is just like it's the equivalent of what we have in English as a simple action and active voice. Simple action, active voice. So then while we have Nifa as simple action as well, but passive voice. Then we have Pie as intensive action, but active voice. Y is intensive action, passive voice. Then we have Ifi as causative action, then active voice. Then where we have the Ufa as positive action, but passive voice. Then the only middle voice that we have there is It Pahe. It Pahe, and It Pahe talks about middle, that's reflexive. So all of this will be learned in this session. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to show you structure now.